Dark psychology tricks are all around us, shaping conversations and decisions in ways we often don't notice. By understanding these subtle techniques, you begin to see how influence and manipulation operate beneath the surface of everyday interactions. Imagine recognizing the cues that make someone more persuasive, or spotting the tiny shifts in behavior that reveal hidden intentions. As you relax and prepare for sleep, let these insights settle in. You'll gain a clearer sense of how social dynamics work and wake up better equipped to navigate them with confidence. The more you know, the less likely you are to be influenced without your awareness. Tonight, let's explore the psychology behind influence and learn how to spot the tricks before they affect you. The mirror effect is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for building instant connection. When you subtly match someone's posture, gestures, or even the rhythm of their speech, you send a silent signal. I get you. This technique taps into our natural tendency to feel comfortable with those who seem familiar. Imagine chatting with a colleague who unconsciously leans in as you do, or uses similar phrases. Suddenly, the conversation feels smoother, more open. By mirroring, you make others feel seen and understood, which opens the door to trust and influence. The key is subtlety. Overdoing it can feel unnatural. Used judiciously, the mirror effect helps you create genuine rapport in any social situation. The foot in the door technique is a powerful way to influence decisions by starting small. Imagine you ask someone for a tiny favor, like signing a simple petition. Once they've agreed, they're more likely to say yes to a larger request later, such as volunteering their time. This works because people want to stay consistent with their previous actions. By securing an initial commitment, you gently guide them toward bigger steps without pressure. It's a subtle approach that builds trust and makes each subsequent ask feel natural. Use this strategy to create momentum in conversations and negotiations, turning small wins into significant outcomes. The door in the face technique is a clever psychological strategy that starts with a bold, often unreasonable request. When this initial request is declined, you follow up with a much smaller, more reasonable one. This shift isn't random. It's designed to trigger a sense of concession in the other person. Imagine asking a colleague to take on an entire project, and when they refuse, you simply request help with a single task. The contrast makes your second request seem modest, and people are more likely to agree because they feel you've compromised. This approach taps into our natural desire to reciprocate and maintain fairness in social exchanges. Used thoughtfully, it can make your everyday negotiations smoother and more successful. The Zynick effect is all about using subtle cynicism or skepticism to influence the way people think and feel during conversations. Imagine someone raising a quiet eyebrow or making a casual remark like, "Are you sure that's the best option?" These small cues plant seeds of doubt without direct confrontation. This technique works because most people are sensitive to social signals and often reconsider their choices when they sense uncertainty from others. By introducing just a hint of skepticism, you can gently steer opinions and encourage others to question their assumptions. The key is to keep it understated. Overt negativity can trigger defensiveness, but a nuanced approach opens the door to influence. When mastered, the Zynick effect becomes a powerful tool for guiding group decisions and shaping perceptions, all while maintaining a sense of connection and trust. Guilt tripping is a subtle yet powerful way to influence someone's choices. It works by tapping into a person's sense of responsibility or obligation, making them feel as though they've let someone down. Imagine a friend saying, "I thought you cared about me," after you decline an invitation. That simple phrase can trigger a wave of self-doubt and pressure to reconsider your decision. The technique relies on our natural desire to be seen as good, reliable, or caring. When guilt is used as a lever, people often act against their own interests just to relieve the uncomfortable feeling. Recognizing guilt tripping is the first step to resisting it and making decisions that truly align with your values. Triangulation is a subtle social maneuver that involves bringing a third person into a conversation or conflict. This technique can dramatically shift the dynamics, often creating new alliances or, sometimes, deepening divisions. Imagine a disagreement between two colleagues. When a third party is invited to weigh in, the balance of power and perspective can change instantly. The third person might validate one side, mediate, or even introduce fresh tension. Used thoughtfully, triangulation can help resolve misunderstandings or strengthen connections. But if misused, it can foster mistrust or escalate the conflict. Understanding when and how to involve others is key to navigating complex social situations with confidence. The silent treatment is more than just ignoring someone. It's a deliberate act of withholding communication to influence another person's emotions or behavior. When faced with silence, people often experience confusion, anxiety, and a strong desire to restore connection. This technique can create a sense of power imbalance, leaving one person feeling isolated or even punished. Psychologically, silence can be a subtle but effective tool for control, as it forces the other person to seek approval or resolution. Imagine a colleague who suddenly stops responding to your messages. Your mind races, searching for what went wrong. Over time, repeated exposure to the silent treatment can erode confidence and trust in relationships. Understanding this dynamic helps you recognize when silence is being used manipulatively and empowers you to respond with clarity and self-assurance. The illusory truth effect is a powerful psychological phenomenon where simply hearing the same information multiple times makes it feel more believable, even if it's not true. Imagine someone repeating a fact at work or in a group chat. Over time, you might start accepting it as reality just because it's familiar. This effect doesn't rely on evidence or accuracy. It's all about repetition. Our brains tend to favor what's familiar, mistaking repeated statements for credible ones. That's why advertisers, politicians, and even friends often repeat key messages. Understanding this bias helps you stay critical and question what you hear, especially when the source isn't reliable. Next time you notice a claim being echoed, pause and ask yourself, is it true or just repeated? Gaslighting is a subtle yet powerful form of psychological manipulation that can leave someone questioning their own reality and memory. Imagine a conversation where, after expressing your feelings, the other person insists you're overreacting or misremembering events. Over time, these repeated denials and distortions chip away at your confidence, making you second-guess your perceptions. The manipulator often uses phrases like, "that never happened," or "you're imagining things," to sow seeds of doubt. This technique isn't just about lying, it's about systematically eroding your trust in your own mind. The result is confusion, anxiety, and a growing dependence on the manipulator for a sense of what's real. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward reclaiming your clarity and confidence. When time is ticking, our brains shift into a different gear. Urgency and looming deadlines can make us feel pressured to act quickly, often at the expense of careful consideration. Imagine being asked to sign a contract with only minutes to decide. Suddenly, details blur and gut reactions take over. This is no accident. Time pressure is a classic tool used to cloud judgment and nudge decisions. Under stress, we're more likely to overlook risks, ignore alternatives, and say yes just to escape discomfort. Recognizing this tactic helps you pause, breathe, and reclaim your ability to think clearly, even when the clock is counting down. Anchoring bias is a subtle psychological effect that shapes the way we make decisions. The first piece of information we encounter, whether it's a price, a statistic, or even someone's opinion, acts as a mental anchor. Everything we see or hear afterward is unconsciously compared to this initial reference point. For example, if you're told a product usually costs $200, a sale price of $150 suddenly feels like a bargain, even if the true value is much lower. This bias influences negotiations, shopping decisions, and even how we assess people in social situations. Recognizing the power of the anchor helps you step back and question whether your judgments are truly objective or simply a reflection of where you started. Imagine walking past a store window and seeing a sign that says, "Only 3 left." Even if you weren't planning to buy, that message sparks urgency. False scarcity works by making something appear rare or about to run out, even when it's not. This triggers a psychological response. People fear missing out and feel compelled to act quickly. Marketers use phrases like limited time offer or last chance to nudge you into making decisions faster. The real power of false scarcity is its ability to shift your focus from careful consideration to immediate action. Recognizing this tactic can help you pause and decide if you truly want or need what's being offered. Framing manipulation is a subtle yet powerful tool in everyday interactions. The way you present information, whether you highlight the positives or emphasize the negatives, can dramatically shift how others perceive a situation. For example, describing a glass as half full rather than half empty instantly changes the emotional response. This technique is often used in negotiations, marketing, and even casual conversations to guide decisions and attitudes. By mastering framing, you gain the ability to influence outcomes without altering the facts themselves. It's not about deception, but about choosing the perspective that best serves your purpose. Next time you share an idea or make a request, consider how your framing might shape the response you receive. Social proof is a powerful psychological lever. When people see others acting a certain way or endorsing an idea, they're more likely to follow suit, often without realizing it. Imagine entering a restaurant that's bustling with customers. Instinctively, you assume the food must be good. This same principle applies in conversations and group settings. By subtly highlighting the approval or participation of others, you can guide opinions and encourage conformity. Whether it's mentioning how many colleagues support a proposal or referencing popular trends, social proof taps into our natural desire to fit in and make safe choices. Used wisely, it can help you influence decisions and build consensus with remarkable ease. Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort we feel when our beliefs clash with our actions. Imagine telling yourself you value health, but reaching for a sugary snack, your mind instantly senses the contradiction. This tension isn't just uncomfortable, it's a powerful motivator. People naturally want to resolve the conflict, either by changing their behavior or by adjusting their beliefs to restore harmony. In social situations, you can use this principle to encourage growth or influence decisions. By gently highlighting inconsistencies, you invite others to rethink and realign their choices. The result? A subtle, yet effective way to inspire lasting change. Repetition is a powerful psychological tool. When you hear the same words or ideas over and over, your mind starts to accept them as truth, often without realizing it. This is the essence of repetition hypnosis: subtle, consistent exposure that shapes beliefs and behaviors. Think about advertising slogans or motivational mantras. Their impact grows with each repetition. Over time, these repeated messages bypass skepticism and become part of your internal narrative. Whether it's building confidence or shifting habits, the steady drip of repetition can quietly transform how you think and act. Priming is a subtle yet powerful psychological effect. When you encounter specific words, images, or even moods, your brain starts to prepare itself, often without you realizing it. Imagine walking into a room that smells like fresh coffee. You might suddenly feel more alert or even crave a cup. This happens because your mind has been primed by the scent. In social situations, hearing someone speak confidently can make you feel more assured yourself. Priming works quietly in the background, influencing your decisions, your reactions, and even your confidence levels. By recognizing these cues, you can start to steer your own mindset and responses more intentionally. Imagine trying to make a choice when you're bombarded with facts, figures, and endless details. Overloading someone with information doesn't just slow them down. It can actually paralyze their decision-making. When the brain is forced to process too much at once, it struggles to filter out what's truly important. This overload often leads to confusion, anxiety, and a tendency to rely on shortcuts or gut reactions instead of careful reasoning. In social situations, this tactic can be used to distract, persuade, or even manipulate as people become less able to challenge or question what they're told. Recognizing when you're being flooded with data is the first step to regaining control and thinking clearly. The Ben Franklin effect is a fascinating twist on how we think about favors and friendship. Instead of winning someone over by doing something nice for them, you actually increase their affection by asking them for a small favor. When someone helps you, their mind looks for reasons to justify their action, often concluding that they must like you. This flips the usual logic of reciprocity on its head. Imagine borrowing a book from a colleague. After lending it, they're more likely to view you positively. It's a subtle psychological trick that leverages our need for consistency in how we see ourselves and others. Try it in everyday situations, and you'll notice how small requests can build genuine connection. The Pagan effect reveals how subtle negative feedback can quietly shape your self-esteem. Imagine someone slipping in a small criticism during a conversation. Nothing overt, just enough to make you second-guess yourself. Over time, these micro-comments can erode confidence and make you more susceptible to influence. This technique is often used by people who want to control social dynamics without being obvious. Recognizing the Pagan effect is key. When you spot these patterns, you can protect your sense of self and respond with clarity. It's a reminder that not all feedback is meant to help you grow. Sometimes, it's a tool for manipulation. Negative reinforcement is a powerful tool in shaping behavior. Instead of adding something unpleasant, it works by removing an unwanted stimulus when a desired action is performed. Imagine you're anxious about a noisy environment, but when you move to a quieter space, your stress fades. Over time, your brain learns to seek out calm settings to avoid discomfort. This principle can help you build healthier habits, like leaving your phone outside the bedroom to eliminate distractions and improve your sleep. By understanding how negative reinforcement operates, you can intentionally design your environment to encourage the responses and routines you want. False flattery is more than just empty praise. It's a subtle tool often used to influence how others feel and behave. When someone offers an insincere compliment, their real goal isn't to uplift, but to gain favor or soften resistance. Imagine a coworker who praises your idea not because they value it, but because they want your support later. This tactic can lower your defenses, making you more receptive to requests or suggestions. Over time, repeated false flattery can erode trust, leaving you questioning the sincerity of future interactions. Recognizing these patterns helps you respond with greater confidence and authenticity. Understanding dark psychology tricks isn't just about spotting manipulation. It's about safeguarding your own well-being. When you know how subtle tactics like persuasion or emotional influence work, you become less vulnerable to unwanted pressure. Imagine navigating a negotiation or a casual conversation. Awareness gives you the power to pause, reflect, and respond with confidence. This knowledge helps you set boundaries, maintain control, and protect your interests. In a world where influence is everywhere, being informed is your first line of defense. You'll notice patterns, recognize red flags, and ultimately make choices that serve you, not someone else's hidden agenda. Manipulation can be subtle, but there are clear signs you can watch for in everyday interactions. If someone consistently steers conversations to make you feel guilty or rushed, that's a red flag. Notice if they use flattery or excessive praise to win your trust quickly, or if they pressure you to agree by asking for small favors that escalate over time. This is known as the yes ladder. Pay attention to how often they justify requests with reasons, using phrases like because, which can make even unreasonable demands seem legitimate. Trust your gut. If you feel uncomfortable or pressured, it's worth pausing to reflect. By staying alert to these patterns, you can protect your boundaries and respond with confidence. Resilience is your inner shield against subtle influence and everyday pressures. To build it, start by recognizing your emotional triggers, those moments when you feel uncertain or easily swayed. Practice the mirror technique. Reflect on your reactions and ask yourself why you respond the way you do. Use the yes ladder in conversations to gradually assert your boundaries, reinforcing your confidence step by step. Saying because when you explain your choices adds clarity and conviction, making it harder for others to manipulate you. Over time, these small strategies accumulate, strengthening your psychological defenses and helping you navigate social situations with greater ease and self-assurance. When using psychological techniques to connect with others or build influence, it's essential to pause and consider the ethical boundaries. The difference between genuine influence and manipulation often lies in intent and transparency. Are you helping someone make a choice that benefits them, or are you steering them for your own gain? Responsible use means respecting autonomy and being honest about your motives. Techniques like the mirror technique or the yes ladder are powerful, but they should never be used to pressure or deceive. True confidence and connection come from mutual respect, not hidden agendas. By staying mindful of these principles, You ensure your skills foster trust rather than undermine it. Applying psychology in your daily life isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding what truly drives human behavior. When you use techniques like active listening or the mirror technique, you signal to others that you value their perspective. This simple shift builds trust and opens the door to authentic connection. By recognizing the power of small affirmations, such as the yes ladder, you encourage cooperation and mutual respect. These insights help you create an environment where both you and those around you can grow with confidence. The result is more meaningful relationships and a stronger sense of belonging. Picture yourself at a networking event. Someone mirrors your posture and speech patterns. This is the mirror technique in action, subtly building rapport. You notice the conversation flowing smoothly, and when you ask for a small favor, they agree, setting up the yes ladder for deeper influence. Later, you make a request and add a simple "because," instantly making your ask more persuasive. In each scenario, recognizing these cues allows you to respond with confidence, reinforcing connection and trust. By applying these techniques, you'll find yourself navigating social interactions with greater ease and impact. Take a moment to notice your own habits in social situations. Have you ever agreed to something just because someone used a gentle nudge, or found yourself mirroring another person's body language without thinking? These subtle techniques, like the mirror technique or the yes ladder, often work beneath our awareness. By reflecting on your own responses, you start to recognize when you're being influenced, and when you're using these tools yourself. This awareness isn't about judging, but about understanding. The more you see your patterns, the more control you gain over your choices and reactions. It's a simple step, but it can transform how you connect and communicate with others. Emotions play a powerful role in how we respond to influence and manipulation. When we feel anxious, our need for certainty and reassurance increases, making us more likely to accept guidance, even if it's not in our best interest. The desire for connection can lead us to mirror others' behaviors or agree with their opinions, simply to feel accepted. Self-doubt amplifies this effect as we look to external cues for validation and direction. Manipulators often recognize these emotional states and use them to steer our decisions subtly. By understanding these emotional triggers, you can become more aware of when you're being influenced and reclaim control over your choices. Confidence acts as your invisible shield in social situations. When you trust your own judgment and value your perspective, you're less likely to be swayed by subtle manipulations or pressure from others. Imagine walking into a room knowing exactly what you stand for. This clarity makes it much harder for anyone to undermine your autonomy. Techniques like the mirror technique help you reflect calm assurance, while using the yes ladder allows you to guide conversations without losing your ground. Remember, self-assurance isn't about arrogance. It's about being rooted in your values and decisions. The more you practice, the more natural it feels. And you'll notice people respond to your quiet confidence with respect. Ultimately, building this inner strength means you stay true to yourself, no matter what social dynamics unfold around you. Influence and control are often confused, but they operate on very different principles. Healthy persuasion is about guiding someone toward a choice while respecting their autonomy and boundaries. It relies on trust, transparency, and genuine connection. Think of using the mirror technique to build rapport or the yes ladder to encourage agreement without pressure. Harmful manipulation, on the other hand, seeks to override another person's will, often through deceit or coercion. The difference lies in intention. Influence empowers, while control diminishes. Recognizing this distinction helps you foster relationships built on respect, not dominance. When you influence, you invite collaboration. When you control, you risk eroding trust and connection. Building awareness and assertiveness starts with small, practical steps. Try the mirror technique. When you're in a conversation, subtly match the other person's posture or tone. This not only helps you tune into their mood, but also makes you feel more present. Another exercise is the yes ladder. Practice getting agreement on small points before moving to bigger requests. It's a way to build confidence and rapport naturally. When you need to express your opinion, use the word "because" to clarify your reasoning. People respond better when they understand your motives. These simple actions, repeated daily, will make you more attuned to social dynamics and help you assert yourself with ease. Dark psychology often gets a bad reputation, surrounded by myths that make it seem sinister or manipulative. In reality, many techniques labeled as dark are simply advanced forms of understanding human behavior and influence. For example, methods like the mirror technique or the yes ladder are about building rapport and guiding conversations, not controlling minds. The misconception that using these skills makes someone unethical overlooks the fact that intent matters. These tools can foster genuine connection and confidence when used responsibly. By debunking these myths, we see that practical psychology is about awareness and choice, not deception. Understanding the real purpose behind these techniques helps you use them wisely, strengthening your social skills without crossing ethical boundaries. Subtlety is often underestimated, yet it holds remarkable power in shaping how others perceive us and how they behave. Small cues, a slight nod, a gentle smile, or a mirroring of posture can quietly influence the mood and direction of any interaction. These details are so discreet that most people don't even notice them consciously, but they still respond. Imagine someone matching your energy in a conversation. You instantly feel understood and more open. This is the essence of techniques like the mirror technique, which leverages subtle mimicry to build trust and connection. By mastering these almost invisible signals, you gain influence without ever seeming forceful. The real impact lies in making others feel comfortable and valued, often without a single word being spoken. When you sense someone trying to manipulate you, staying grounded is your best defense. Start by taking a slow, deep breath. This simple act helps you pause and regain control over your emotions. Notice your physical sensations, like the feeling of your feet on the floor or your hands resting on your lap. This anchors you in the present moment. Remind yourself of your values and boundaries, and mentally repeat them if needed. If you feel pressure to agree, use the mirror technique. Calmly reflect their words back to them, which gives you time to think and subtly shifts the power dynamic. Remember, you're allowed to say no or ask for clarification. By staying aware and connected to yourself, you'll find it much easier to navigate tricky conversations without losing your emotional balance. When someone tries to use subtle psychological tricks on you, responding assertively is key. Instead of reacting emotionally, pause and acknowledge their point calmly. Use phrases like, "I see what you're saying, but I have a different perspective," or "I understand your request, and here's what works for me." Techniques like the mirror technique can help. Repeat their words back to them to clarify intent and show you're not easily swayed. The yes ladder is another tool. Agree with small points, but stand firm on your boundaries when it matters. Always remember, saying no is not rude. It's a sign of confidence and self-respect. By combining clear language with steady tone, you'll project influence and protect your interests without escalating tension. Sometimes, the smartest move is knowing when to step back. Imagine a conversation that keeps circling around conflict, or a negotiation where respect is missing. These are moments when disengagement protects your energy and self-respect. Recognizing when to walk away isn't about giving up. It's about choosing your battles wisely. If you notice repeated patterns of manipulation, disrespect, or emotional exhaustion, it's a sign that staying engaged may do more harm than good. Trust your instincts and remember, healthy boundaries are a sign of confidence, not weakness. By walking away, you preserve your well-being and make space for more positive connections. It's a practical skill that empowers you to invest your time where it truly matters. Empathy is more than just feeling for someone. It's the ability to truly understand their perspective and emotions. When you approach social situations with genuine compassion, you unlock deeper levels of connection and trust. Imagine a tense meeting where, instead of reacting defensively, you pause and consider what the other person might be experiencing. This simple act can diffuse conflict and open the door to collaboration. By practicing empathy, you become more attuned to subtle cues, making it easier to influence outcomes and build rapport. Ultimately, empathy transforms complex social dynamics into opportunities for meaningful interaction and mutual respect. Let's recap the essential dark psychology tricks you've learned. Techniques like the mirror technique, the yes ladder, and using because can subtly influence decisions and behaviors, often without the other person realizing it. Recognizing these tactics in everyday interactions helps you stay alert and maintain control. If you notice someone mirroring your body language too closely or guiding you through a series of small agreements, pause and reassess the situation. Always question the motives behind persuasive language, especially when reasons seem manufactured. By staying aware and trusting your instincts, you can protect yourself from manipulation and make choices that truly reflect your own interests. As you move forward, remember that every social interaction is an opportunity to learn and grow. Stay curious about the people you meet and the subtle dynamics at play. Awareness is your greatest tool. Notice the small cues, the shifts in tone, and the moments of connection. Confidence comes from practice and reflection, so trust yourself and the skills you've developed. Each conversation is a chance to refine your approach and deepen your understanding. With these techniques in hand, you'll find that building meaningful relationships becomes not only easier, but genuinely rewarding.